House is voting right now on a bill that would allow Congress to audit the Federal Reserve's monetary policy decisions, a move that Fed Chair Ben Bernanke says would create a nightmare scenario of political meddling. Lou Dobbs is here with his take. You love political meddling.
I love it when the Fed is, wrapping itself in the mantle of purity, standing tall in the financial chaos that surrounds us around the globe.
What a picture you're painting there.
And, of course, Congress, so adroit with public policy and management and administration of government, reaching out to bring the Fed to its bosom for succor and warmth. I mean, it's terrific that they're so concerned about the Fed.
Yeah.
It is, I can't think of a success on the part of this Congress that would in any way cause any of us to think anything would be better off in its grip.
I do think, though, that what is behind this is the idea that the Fed is a little bit out of control. I mean, they've expanded their mandate to include trying to manage unemployment, which they're obviously fantastic at. Look at unemployment right now.
That was urged upon them, and of course from the.
I feel like they're so activist. I mean, the Fed, they did a great job of keeping the financial system from seizing during the banking crisis. But since then, they've tried to do an awful lot, and they've just shown us that they're sort of out of quivers. They've pulled back the curtain, and you've seen there's frighteningly little there. Go ahead.
There's so much more there than I see in other quarters of what we call government, whether they're a quasi-government entity or not. The fact is, the Fed, without expanding its balance sheet, adding $2.7 trillion in assets over the course of what has been an unprecedented era in our country and our economy, I think the results would be very ugly indeed. Even now, as markets are besides themselves in anticipation of quantitative easing 3. Everyone clucks and clatters and wrings their hands, and there's a wailing and gnashing of teeth over the Fed. And then in that moment of decision, they're on their knees with their hands folded, begging the Fed
like drug addicts for more.
Well, it's not so
more
much
of a fix.
It's not so much to me an addiction as it is an outright dependency that has been created by first fiscal policy that is utterly mad, and over which seemingly our Congress has no influence, nor this president obviously, except to ever greater depths of debt, and to the idea of turning over the Fed to these people, doesn't that just scare the hell out of you?
It does. I mean, definitely. But what worries me is I think that behind this is the idea that the Fed is out of control, kind of trying to do so much. And when you see that we're talking about, once again, them coming to the table with something else, and the reaction is, well, that will boost stocks but not do anything else, that makes me feel like it is a body that has, used up all of its bullets.
How do you feel when you describe Congress? Then?
No,
you must
definitely worse.
You must be morose.
I am.
When you talk about the presidency, the imperial presidency under both parties, you must be despondent.
I don't like the government in general, so I would just embrace everything you're saying.
We can't sate your lust for total independence and self-reliance, but rugged individualism, we got a great place for that in America, and it's, I think, the proper outlook. But what we do also have a reputation for and a national system of values that are built around being straightforward, plain-spoken, honest, direct as Americans. That was our reputation around the world. Now you would think our reputation is George Bush or Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Both of those two gentlemen are transitory in our history, our experience, and frankly in the fate of the globe. We have to understand that we've got to get straight and talk straight, and that means being honest about what the issue is. It's not the Fed, it's the currency. It is the dollar, our purchasing power. What are the business practices and the public policies that have created this jobless recovery where 25 million people are out of work or underemployed? We have to be honest. It's about the currency. It's about how do we establish
our credibility around the world again.
Exactly. And why is it that a country with $16 trillion in debt, 5 consecutive years of trillion-dollar deficits, is watching its currency rise in connection with, of course, the euro? And the reason is because they're even bigger idiots than our elected officials. That is not the answer. The answer is to start talking about what is a monetary value and unit of value that makes sense, whether it be the dollar, whatever it may be, tied to to gold, whatever the basis you want to choose. We've got to start getting honest about what we're. Well, it's not just back to the gold standard. It's about understanding, instead of being reflexive in our negative response to the gold standard, understanding the history of the country, understanding economic history, and what is required to have a stable, secure economy in the decades ahead in the 21st century. Because this madness that is being carried out in Washington, D.C. has only one future, and it is not a pretty one. Always
enlightening. Lou Dobbs.
Always great to be with you.
Yes, you can see Lou every day here at this time. And of course at 7 and 10 p.m. Eastern. I know you all watch. Tonight, Lou is talking to Representative Mike Rogers of Alabama about the looming fiscal cliff.